Raised in a small Texas town, Blair Caldwell began his career dreaming of a way to get his photography on billboards, magazines, and album covers. After just a few years, Blair was already shooting with some of today's greatest musical artists like Beyonce, Normani, and SZA. Blair's style is self-described as neat photos. Not much going on in the background, clean walls, and clean portraits. His ability to capture the subject's details and emotions in a clean and effective way is what sets him apart from other photographers. This is Blair Caldwell.
Blair Caldwell, thank you so much. Welcome to the Rare Humans podcast. How are you doing?
What's up, bro? I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I think this is going to be episode 9, and I've loved it so far just because we're digging into some really fun topics and a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different people, but you are someone that I've been looking forward to the most, just given the fact that you have been in the industry for quite some time. You're, in my opinion, I know a lot of people will agree, one of the best photographers out right now working in this space. Your work is incredible. Your photography is incredible. And I'm super stoked to kind of dig into it. So appreciate you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Cool intro.
Thank you. So I want to lead up to everything that you're working on now and kind of go back into the past of, like, I'm always curious whenever I talk with people, because I personally have a lot of memories of myself and the first time I picked up a camera and the things that inspired me. But one of the first things I was curious about with you is, your early childhood memories pertaining to art or photography or even the stuff that you were inspired by that made you want to pick up a camera. Do you have any early, what's the earliest memory that you have where you're like, oh, wow, I'm super curious about photography or video? Because I know that's initially probably where you started out or wanted to start out. What was that early childhood like for you?
I must say probably finding that love for just cameras in general probably have to be in school when I was in school in elementary. I remember being excited for a picture day. I don't know why, but I was a huge fan of taking the class pictures. And so I just got really excited while other students in the class picture day, no, I don't want to dress up, So I would go back home and I would tell my mom, okay, we have picture day coming up. I got to find an outfit. You got to dress me up. And she would always put me in this tie and button down and something that I didn't really want to wear, but I was excited about, I don't know why, just being in front of a camera and taking photos and the whole concept of shooting this memory with my class that's going to be printed and that I get to have forever. So I remember being excited about that. And then I got into, my dad bought me a video camera. I don't know what birthday it was, but I know the video camera was black and white. So it had to be a long time ago. Bought me a black and white video camera one night when he was coming back from church, and it was for my birthday. And he set it up and plugged it up and let me and my sister make music videos. So that's another memory I remember really loving that, and him buying that for me. I don't know what I showcased to him at a young age that I liked video cameras and things like that, but for somehow he bought that for me when I was very young. And I also was into yearbook, in middle school and high school I was into the yearbook and putting that together. So I was just always, those are the memories I remember early on, just being into photos and photography and all those things.
Yeah, and there's something to be said too about, I always tell people, physical items, things that you can touch and feel and not just see. Sometimes it could be repetitive when we're living in this digital world of looking at phones and looking at screens or MacBook, whatever. But when you had that early childhood memory, you know that picture is going to exist in a physical item in a book. And there's something about that that's just
right.
Did your mom ever print them out and put them up next to each other as you progress through the different grades?
Well, it's so funny because my mom never really bought the photos. So that's another thing that I used to be upset about, because I want them so I can have them in my possession. But she never really bought the photos. She only bought photos of me, like when we would take our singles photos or whatever. But I've always wanted the photo like physically in my hand because I wanted to like evaluate it and like look at it. And I don't know, I just love the colors, how every student had on a different, I don't know, like some students had on sweaters, some people had on t-shirts, shorts, different skin tones and textures and like sizes and like all different things. I was really into noticing and admiring like the different classmates' features and things like that. So I'm still into that till this day. Like I'll talk to somebody and I'll just compliment them on their eyes or like a bone structure or like skin tone, complexion. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of that translates into your work too, because you can see that you have a specific focus on the details. You're not just taking portrait photography. It feels like every photo encapsulates not only that person, but also like the era that they're in or the time that they might be in. But yeah, I love the early childhood memories just because it's so interesting to think about like the way beginnings, because we're inspired now and we have our inspirations now. But like when we were a kid, like, was there any early, music or artists or movies or anything that like, what was what were you into the most as a kid?
Yeah, I grew up watching like MTV and BET. Those are the top things that I feel that just kind of shaped my whole life, honestly. Like even to this day, like I'm such a big fan of both networks. And I grew up analyzing and watching these music videos of these celebrities back then and just like the sets and how they look like superheroes. And I was so fascinated with just the whole music industry, honestly. Like it was, and I sing as well too. So me like being into like singing and like videos and like just cameras and like it just played a big part of shaping my whole life just through, elementary and middle school and high school. Like I was in choir and band and I took theater in high school and just like all these things like just really shaped who I am today. And yeah, I hope I answered the question. I think.
No, that's good. Yeah, I think that with a lot of those things that you take part in as a kid, like you said, they subconsciously shape you. Even like you talking about watching MTV and BET, like those memories stick forever just because your brain at that point of your life is so malleable and it's so like vulnerable in a way where it's just like all those experiences are very new and it just like almost seems like everything is like Disneyland in a way. Like you wake up and you're looking at the music video and it's like, oh my God, like you can't wait to see that because they'll play it again the following morning. Like I when I took the bus early to go to school early in the morning, the first thing I do is turn on MTV or VH1. And I think there was a time where they were both playing music videos and like I would watch one and then I'd go over to VH1 if I didn't like the next one that MTV played.
Right. No, just flipping back and forth to different channels. That's what I used to do.
Totally. It's almost like a soundtrack too, because then I would go outside and walk to the bus and have that video playing in my head. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm in the video, like I'm getting on the bus.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So childhood and then going into, when you're a young adult, what did you have an idea of like, oh, I can make this a career? I'm feeling inspired about just being an artist in general. Like, did you have those thoughts early on, like that you wanted to pursue that? Or was it more of just like a natural thing that just kind of happened?
Yeah, I think my perspective back then, I just wanted to be like Usher. I wanted to be Usher. That's who I wanted to be first. So I would always watch these music videos and I used to draw as well. So I would draw all these like concepts that I thought that I would do, like, because I wanted to be an artist and then I wanted to direct my own music videos and shoot my own album covers. I don't know how I was going to do that, but that's what I was thinking I wanted to do. And so growing up, once I got into like high school, I started to take photos of my sister on my cell phone. I had a cell phone, like a little razor phone, and I started taking photos of her. And she would go to the library and print them out, and then she would put them in this clear binder in the front of her binder. And so her friends would be like, "Oh my gosh, how did you get a photo of yourself in front of your binder?" She said, "My brother took it." And then it was like, "Oh, well, I want one." And then I would start doing her friends, and then everybody started walking around with like photos in their binders that I was taking. And then I started being known for like for that, like, oh, okay, well, no, Blair sister is like putting him on to like all these students in the school, like to take photos or whatever. So then before you know, I was just taking photos of like all these different students. And then I was like, wait a minute, I should probably like try to charge. So then I started like, no, my friend asked me, they was like, you should charge to take the photos. And then I was like, nah, I don't want to charge it, because I didn't think I was that good. I just was like taking photos on a a little razor phone. And then sooner or later my parents started saying like, you're actually good, like you should try it. Then I think I got booked for like some little wedding or something. And then that was my first time getting paid. I think I got paid like $100 something for like a little wedding or something. And then I was like, okay, I guess I'll go to college. That's when I went to college for it.
I feel like that's when you know that you're a true artist, is when money gets involved. Not that you feel uncomfortable, but you kind of, like you mentioned, like, I don't want to charge this. It's because like you're just passionate about it and you're having fun. And I think that stage, one of the things that I want to talk about too, because I know that there's some young creatives out there too that might be going through this or are going to go through this. There's this stage where you're like committing to taking it to that point where you're going to get compensated for your art. It is your job. You're very talented on it, or talented with it. So it's like, you do deserve to get paid. Did you run into any issues where you were just like, oh wow, like how do I get this into like a business model, or how do I get paid for this? Like, was that a struggle for you initially?
Yes. Because I'm from a smaller town, which is called Tyler, Texas. It's like an hour from Dallas. And it's not like a big entertainment city or anything that you just kind of like go around and submit your work and try to get paid for it. It was just kind of like friend of a friend, family member told a family member, things like that. And nobody really believed back then. And like, you're a student, so nobody's like really believing in paying like crazy money. So once I thought about going to college, once I got into college, I was able to, like, my professors and different things like that would tell me what we could make in the industry if we were serious and we wanted to, depending on what we wanted to shoot. And back then, like, a lot of my classmates wanted just to do like wedding photography. They wanted to do like animals, like all kind of different things like that, nobody really wanted to be like a celebrity photographer like me. So I kind of ran into a problem of just trying to figure out how in my mind I would break into the industry and what that looks like how could I make a living off of that. I kind of thought about that, but I would tell my professors that that's what I wanted to do, and they was like, oh yeah, you could do it, but like it's going to take you 20 years before you can, shoot this or shoot that. And nobody's like shooting things your age, like these type of celebrities your age. So that kind of discouraged me, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And thank God for Instagram, because it just popped off, I think around 2012, I think. I want to say 13, like around that time, it just kind of launched. So thank God for that, because that helped me kind of be able to have a place I can just put my work and display it for the world.
That was like the kind of like a, okay, then watch me do it attitude, where, you're met with this doubt, this external doubt from people who should be giving you, encouragement, right. From a professor. And so, for you to be able to, that's, I think, a huge part too about, there's an artist side of it. And then there's also this emotional heart involved with being an artist too, where, what you want, what you want to get out of life, what you want to do as an artist. And and nothing's going to get in the way of that. So, yeah, that's amazing. I mean, what was your first big client or that first big break where you're like, oh shit, this is getting real?
I feel like, well, I have to say, I have to give some props to Chrisette Michelle. She's a great R&B, sultry, like beautiful artist that gave me a chance and believed in me. And I had just moved to LA, and she kind of asked me what I wanted to do. I told her what I wanted to do, and she was like, okay, well, I'm working on this album. I need a creative to do this, X, Y, Z. And I stepped in, and I was so hungry. I was like, oh my gosh, like I just need one person to like help me out, believe in me. So she needed video and photography at the same time. So I went and I was filming her content, like behind the scenes, like traveling with her, like rehearsal, when she would do a show. We would even do like just some blog days because she was into like fashion. So she would go thrifting and I would like shoot the stuff that she found. So I would have to shoot it, edit it, and then she would upload it on her YouTube. And then from there, I would do photos as well. And then I would edit the photos. And then she would post those on like Instagram and on her blog at the time. So it was a lot of work for one person, but I didn't see it as that. I was just so like new and fresh to LA, and I was just ready and just hungry. So I just did it. Now looking back at it, I'll be like, oh, I would need like an assistant to help me and do all those things. But it was so cool because I learned so much, like just trial and error. And I have to give props to her, like being the first one to kind of like take me in.
I love that, there's people out there that are willing to give people chances. I think that, a lot of great artists, photographers, directors, even athletes and other people too. I feel like, yes, they are talented, but I do believe that there are people with positions of influence or power that can set people up to, be on that stage. And I really do think that anyone that does that and gives people an opportunity, especially someone like, you were mentioning, like you were just grinding, you were new to LA, you were taking it seriously. But I do believe that it's incredible when you come across people who are willing to, take a chance on you and put you in those positions. We need more of that, just because like people won't know who their future photographer or favorite director will be unless they get into a position where they're not necessarily, I don't want to say proving yourself, because you're not really proving yourself. It's more of like here's this new, fresh perspective and take on this. So the learning as you go thing too, I feel like was important for me even as well, where sometimes you might not know, you're like, oh shit, I mean, I can do this, I am doing it. And then you're just kind of like throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks. And then you kind of formulate this, this like routine. But tell me about your first time going on tour. I know that's always like an exciting thing too for photographers, videographers. Who was your first tour and kind of go into like that experience?
My very first tour was when I was in college. I didn't stay on it for long, but I went on this tour with Little Twist. And I did like video for like a couple of cities. So that was like my first time being on a bus and with like rappers and
were you like, oh, I'm in it?
yeah. It was very new for me, very new. And I don't think I was ready. And I just wasn't, I took some time out of college to go. So I just kind of left college and then jumped on that tour, did a little bit of that. And I think it was called Closer to My Dreams tour. And it was like Mindless Behavior, Lil Twist, Tyga, Jahan, I think, Diggy. It was a couple of it was like the up and coming like young R&B guys and rappers and things like that. Tyga was on that too. So I did that for a little bit and took my little video camera and video, and that was cool. And then I was like, okay, this is a little too much for me at this time. So then I jumped off that tour, finished college, moved to LA, and then jumped to 2018 is when I went on the Sweetener tour with Normani, and she was the opening for Ariana Grande, and that was like the official tour. I felt like that was like my first tour mentally, and that was cool. I actually went, finished it. It was really dope. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about live photography. I learned a lot about lights and staging and like fast shooting, um, interacting with like people that you just meet, like, and you have to be around for the next 2 to 3 months. So just kind of like interacting in that world and still like being professional and just doing your thing. And that was a cool experience.
Yeah, tours are like a dream come true for photographers and videographers, because if you get an opportunity to do one shoot that's like, a day or half a day, it's like, okay, cool. But like you're doing that every day, like you said, for 2 to 3 months. So not only are you getting all this practice and experience, but you're also just like constantly immersed in this, like your truth.
Yeah.
It's like you're living in a dream state for 2 to 3 months. And I know it is, obviously there's the downsides of it, maybe a lack of sleep, and you're grinding. And like you said, you're having to keep up with these relationships and meeting new people. And there's a lot of moving parts, but at the end of the day, you're going to bed happy, knowing that when you wake up, you're going to be shooting more.
Right.
But yeah, it was always funny too, because like my first tour that I filmed on was with Tiana Taylor, and I was, we were driving to the next city, and then I would film rehearsals and then a sound check and then her performance. And then while everyone else went out and did their thing, I was editing the video that was going to be dropped, either that night or following morning. And I would stay up to like 2, 3 a.m. hotel, whatever. And so it's like, that was the grind part of it. Well, everybody is out there celebrating, having fun. We're in there editing photos or editing videos or putting the shit together.
Wow. It's
Totally.
Like, the artists and the dancers and the musicians are kind of like going in and rehearsing and shooting. We just kind of get to be a little free with it and just kind of like shoot as we want and like catch that. And then once they're done, then it's like our time. It's like our show.
Yeah.
Like in a way, like when it's time to edit, we have to sit down and like put something together for the world to see. So that's kind of like when we perform, and then it's kind of like opposite. So
it'd be funny to think about if you had your Mac like on stage with a bunch of fans, and like you make a little tweak or adjustment, and people are like,
right, absolutely.
That's hilarious. Right. Cool. Well, everything, we've talked about everything leading up to now, and some of the artists that you've worked with. I actually want to share my screen and go through like 3 or 4 of my personal favorites of you, and just kind of have you briefly talk about maybe either the story behind it or what some thoughts you had during the shoot. Okay. You down for that?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
This is the most recent one. This is you did this with Jaden Smith this month. This is cool because this actually ended up on the cover of magazine. We were just talking about a few minutes ago about physical items. Yeah. And when you have something in your home, like a coffee table read or a magazine, that's got to be a surreal feeling for you, seeing your work that you put a lot of work into be in a physical item like that.
No, so it's so cool. I actually have it like.
Oh, perfect. We get to see it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Like 2. So I have like this right here, which is really
cool. Nice.
Yeah. It's just cool because I love like I told you, like I love print, so it just looks even better. Like,
wow,
stuff like that. This is just like what I grew up like dreaming of, and just seeing my name like in like I don't know. It's crazy. Like just seeing your name and like on paper, and just like knowing that that's like a respect type of situation. Like I don't know. It's just kind of like. I feel professional, and I've always started out with photography as just kind of like a talent that I'm not sure about. Like I was like, yeah, I can do this. But when you see a name put into something that it has like credit behind it, it's like, it's just cool to see that you're being taken serious. And I think to this day, I'm still like searching to be taken serious, even though I feel like, I am, but it's just cool to be reminded. So that was a really cool shoot. He's really, 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 really cool. And Really nice dude and just very chill. And he came in and we was able to collaborate. And he like styled himself, and we like both talked about the clothes, what we like, and how we were gonna do it, and we just like worked hand in hand on it. And it was special because it was like Black designers that he was wearing, and it was Black History Month, and it was a Black artist and a Black photographer. So it was just kind of cool. That whole concept is why I came on board. When they approached me with it, I was like, yo, of course I would do this. This is really dope. And you can look back. I can look back at this years later from now and be like, yo, like that's really dope. They was able to do that and like doing Black History Month.
Totally. That's amazing. Well, I love it. And this is a really cool, series. A lot of this photography is just like very, very well done. And yeah, this is dope. One of the things too with working in the creative space is you get to form relationships with artists too in a way that goes beyond just being like a photographer. And I think that's one of the things that I love too about, in our field is like relationships are everything, obviously, but like there's more to it than just a transactional thing. I think it's always great when you get to work with someone at a level where they just get you, they understand who you are, not only as a person, but as a human. And those relationships, obviously you've been working with people like Normani and Beyonce and Sierra for quite a long time. And it's always nice to be able to just continue those relationships, cultivate them. Like I said, less transactional, more of like hey, got this dope idea, let's put it together. Next thing you know, you have a magazine on your coffee table with your name printed on it. So I love that. Cool. And then we got a couple more here. This is with Kylie Jenner. This is cool. I just like this composition of this. This is for her brand.
Having skin.
Yeah, but this is a dope shoot. How was this?
Thank you. This is really cool. I just feel like she has such great taste just as a person. I feel like her family, like they just have like great taste and they know what's cool. They know what looks good. I love her eye. She's very detailed. And she wants to try things and try new things, and I love that. And that's what I like to do is try new things, be creative, and put a spark in people's like minds. I love to like for people to see an image or something I've done and be like, oh wow, this is cool. Like I've never seen this, or I love this, or this is very beautiful, like on the eye. Like I love stuff like that. And she is really she just has great taste. So I've always wanted to see how, like, I never thought I would like actually work with her. I just like, because I'm such a fan of her, I always look at her content and be like, yo, it's so dope. Like they're so cool. And they always just on top of everything. And they're literally like a walking mood board. So I was just like, one day I just wish, I wonder if she likes what I do. And I wonder would she like be into like my taste, because I feel like I have great taste. And so I was like, I just wonder. And we actually ended up working together, and it's so cool because it's kind of like a stamp of approval, like, okay, yeah, you do got good taste. Because if Kylie likes you and want to work with you,
I love that you say stamp of approval, because like there's no better feeling than being on the same page with someone, especially if you have that like anxiety going into it. It's just like, oh shit, this is there's a lot of pressure, but also I trust myself. I trust, like you said, you trusted your own taste and your own vision, and when they align with that and see the value in that is like always it's like butterflies, because you're like, oh, it's like this huge weight is lifted off your shoulder.
Yeah. And then just starting off, like I feel like photography I started off like on social media. So it's like for her to be like the like queen of social media and her family is like just really cool. Like starting out on photography, starting off on Instagram and working with the person that is kind of like delivers content, feed us content on Instagram, and being able to collaborate is really dope.
So this obviously is different than, shooting in a studio or having like a curated look or vision or feel where you're having the artist swap in and out of different looks and things. This is like a dedicated look. This is for the red carpet. How does that, how do you think differently or approach the situation differently when it's like at a live event versus like something more heavily curated in a studio?
Right. I feel everything I've done up until the point of me meeting Beyonce and working with her, and I think prepared me for these type of moments. And they're very quick a lot of times, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you just gotta be quick on your feet. And I think with me doing touring and with me just kind of like always doing like these run and gun like shoots and like being really quick kind of helped me prepare for that because it's really fast. You got to know what you're doing. And I think school helped me out too when I think of these things because you got to know how to get the light really quick. And yeah, so I just thank God for school and for my experiences before all of this.
Yeah, I love I always tell people when I shoot documentary work, that's the niche that I love the most is because you're shooting things in real time. Like I always said, on tours or even shooting festivals, if you're filming a performer and they come out on stage and you miss the shot, it's not like you can go tap them on the shoulder and be like, hey, can you like redo that and come out again? So there's almost like this rush of it's like exhilarating to be able to be in a position where it's like, okay, you have an hour and let's see what we can get, blah, blah, blah. And you're just like in the zone. You're just in that like tunnel vision. And so I feel like it's probably a similar situation where, you have the artists walking, red carpets or at events. It's like, okay, what can I find even if they give like a wink to a certain photographer, if I find something out of the ordinary and capture that, like, do you go home and, when you look at the photos, like, you're like, oh shit, I didn't even catch that. Or like, do you like, I love those moments, I guess.
Right, yeah. That happens to me all the time where I'm just like, wait, I didn't even remember getting that.
Yeah.
Literally all the time.
I love that. This one's good. I love this. This is Doja Cat. I think this was her Halloween party look, right?
Yep.
This is fun. I think, you do a good job of like, even if it's something different, for example, like a Halloween look, like you're still having fun with it. And
right.
This one. So talk to me too. You've worked with SZA quite a bit. Actually, some of your footage ended up in the Good Days music video, correct?
Yes.
That was cool. I want to talk about that too. But first, talk about, SZA and working with her and a lot of I actually think I saved one. Let me pull it up really quick. I think it's the last one. I'm going to tell you right now, this is probably one of my favorite photos that you've ever taken.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just because I love the colors in this, I just love the details with like this, like, storage cabinet. The cabinet's open. She's leaning her leg on it, and also her hair just like looks gorgeous in this. And I don't know. It's just like I more of like my eye is just like, how do you feel when it first hits you or when you first see it? And this is one that I was just like, oh damn, this is cool.
Cool, nice. No, I love this photo. We were just like at her house. I think we were just doing a content day, and she used to like text me and just be like, "Yo, you want to shoot?" And I'm like, "Yep, let's do it." And then she would just bring a bunch of clothes downstairs. And then I love that she's so creative, and she reminds me of of people I used to work with and like back in the day, like in school, like when we would team up and do like group projects and different things like that. She's very collaborative with me anyway. So it was really cool to kind of like go to a house with no idea of what we were going to do, and just kind of like see her cut up this tank top, and then see her like say like, no, but this would be hard, like mixed match socks. I'm gonna go put on like these baggy boyfriend jeans. And then I remember she was in front of this cabinet, and I want to say it was open already or something about it. She said, no, I love it. And then she just put her foot up, and then I just took it, and then I ended up loving it too. Just the shape of it, and I don't know, the it has a lot of like different shapes, like even in the shirt and the abs, and like really cool. So I really enjoyed working with her because it was always felt like a little art project. We both were bouncing ideas, and used to just shoot just for fun, and this is what came from it. So it's dope.
That's where all the great art always comes from is when there's no real
Stress.
pressure, there's no stress, and there's no like they got to be here at this time and you got to do this and you got to, and then you're just like, oh, next thing you know, you're like, okay, I feel like I'm being rushed here. But the fact that, you know, she texted you and said, hey, come shoot, like no ideas yet, but once you're there, you know, that to me, you know, this is proof, because this is one of my favorite photos right here. It's proof that, you know, when you eliminate those stressors and the pressure of like doing something dope, and you just let it breathe,
let it flow, connect, and just let whatever comes out of it comes out of it. And that's the beauty of just shooting. Like, you know, you can pick what you want to put out there, and I love that. Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes is "Let go and let God."
Love that.
Simply because when you, again, like we just talked about, when you eliminate the pressure to be perfect, when you eliminate that fear or that anxiety, and obviously those things are very natural and you're going to have to work through them. But the reason that quote, you know, was resonated with me is because like you let go, let God, you know, It's like, even that's not even just with art or photography or videography. It's also with life in general. You know, when you have certain things come up into your life that freak you out, or you're nervous, or you're, you know, self-doubt starts creeping in. You know, when is this going to pass? When are the things going to start clicking? You know, thousands of different things you can think about when you let go and let God, you know, handle those details behind the scenes subconsciously. Like things just naturally flow and get good. So I actually wanted to dig into that too, just like the more emotional side of things that not a lot of people discuss too, when it comes to creating art. And a lot of those first mentors can be family. And I was curious, like, did your family, you know, did you get a lot of support from your family and friends early on? Like, how did that work? Like, did you feel like you were ever like alone on this journey where you're like, nobody quite understands what I'm trying to do or accomplish? Or did you have people that were like, fuck yeah, like Blair, I see that in you, go get it?
Yeah. No, I've always had my family support, which I'm so blessed and grateful for that, because not a lot of people have that. So I've always had my family support. My sister is like one of my biggest fans. We're like a year apart. So she's always have been my muse, who I like. Because I shoot a lot of females. So she was like one of the first females I ever shot. And she looked up to Beyonce so much and just loved Beyonce still to this day. And like the way she moved in front of the camera and the things that she used to do, like she used to love America's Next Top Model, so she used to watch Tara all the time, and I just used to just shoot her, and she really looked up to those type of women like that. And I think with me having that experience and shooting her and just kind of knowing how females move, and like she really helped me out in that sense. And she just like championed me and just really wanted me to be the best. And my mom and my dad and my other sister and brother, all super supportive. And I had a lot of friends too in school that always saw the creative side of me and just always championed me. So I feel very lucky and blessed that a lot of people believed in me, like, early on, like, and that's why I thought I could do it. And that's a part of why I was so like fearless, and I just went for it. In high school, I won like most talented and like all these things, like was in talent shows. I won like first place, and just like always had people surrounding me that was just like, you can do it, you got it. So yes, I had a lot of support, which I'm very blessed for that. I just think once I got to LA and I wasn't around a lot of my family and friends, it was just kind of like a new world for me. So it wasn't like Blair that, you know, in Tyler, Texas, doing his thing, going around Dallas and shooting and like having all the support. It was just kind of like a new world for me. So I had to kind of like, those are the times I felt kind of got lonely, because I had to push through those days that I did not have that support, and I just prayed and just like you said, let go and let God. And I'm a firm believer and Jesus. So I just would pray, and that got me through my darkest days in LA because um I mean, you can call home and tell your mom that, but you don't want to complain too much because you don't want them to say, come back.
Right.
So I would always make them feel like I had it together and like everything was working out, even though I was just fighting to get my name out there, fighting to just continue to get my work seen and just wanting a chance. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I did have support in my early days a lot.
Yeah, and support really can go a long way because when you're filled with self-doubt or like you said, you kind of had these dark days where you're like questioning yourself and things. When you call up someone that you trust and know that'll give you the right answer and the right answer that's good for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that goes a long way. And just like staying the course, staying focused. And even, when you talk about these like godly moments too, it also doesn't necessarily have to come in the form of friends and family. I've had like 3 or 4 very rare, we could probably have a whole another podcast just dedicated to these like trippy god-like situations. Even when I was in Long Beach and I would like skateboard I was working at a restaurant and I was just like skating one day and I just literally was just like I'm on the verge of giving up. I want to move home. Like this is fucked up, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like skating and I heard this guy. It's a long story, but long story short, this guy like pulled me, had no idea who he was, pulled me aside and said something very similar to the let go and let God quote and said, God bless you. And I literally started like bursting out in tears. And it was just like the most
Wow.
chills, like magical moment ever. Never saw the guy again. So when you have like friends and family, don't just look at just that as being like the only people. Like there are other people out there on this planet that believe in you too. And it is like this godly energy that's just like once you put that out to the universe and what you want, um, things will just naturally flow to you and come to you. But I will say there are always, I know you can attest to this too, but there are always going to be very, very dark days when you do doubt yourself to the point where you're like, man, like, what am I doing? What's the purpose of all this? Like, did you have any practices that helped you curb those thoughts or those anxious self-doubt moments?
Yes, I would, like I said, like I would pray for sure. And I feel
Mhm.
like that's one thing that have gotten me this far for sure, is just
Yeah.
prayer. Even if I don't feel like it's answered on time, even if I don't feel like praying when I'm, down, I still pray. And I feel like that just putting that in the atmosphere and just like, taking time out to say what you want out loud and pray is such a big thing, and it goes a long way. I did that. I would just take a break and just try to do something outside of whatever was making my day dark. So like if it was me wanting a job or like me not getting the job, um, anything that was had to do with photography or something that had me sad, I would just do the opposite. So I would go to In and Out. I would go eat with a friend. I would go listen to my favorite music and just kind of like I would watch it, my favorite show. And then sometimes I would just watch like the VMAs or like just kind of go back to like where everything started for me and like try to get that passion back and believe in myself and know like it might be a dark day, but there's so much ahead and I just got to believe. And I was just listening to sermons from like TD Jakes and Joel Osteen, just anybody that could like uplift my spirit and like encourage me. I would go and do those things just to just get myself out of that world. Cause in LA and just like in the industry, you can just like wake up and eat and sleep all day. Like what you want to do is all about like, my career, my job, my job, my job, my job. And you see it everywhere. You see billboards in LA, you see um everything just like screams like success. You want it, you want it, you want it. So
Yeah.
I like to take a break from that and just do something so normal, whether that's just watching a sermon, going to go eat with a friend, just to get my mind out of that. And the moment you kind of step out of that and release and let go, like you said, you'll get a call, email, or something, and um, yeah, just be and those remind me of the times just to be present as well when I do have these amazing jobs and these amazing career opportunities. I like to be present a lot because I know that it could be another month, or that could be my last time working with them. It could be, another year before I have a big opportunity. So I just try to be present in those and be grateful and just, yeah, stay happy as much as I can.
Yeah, and I just had Coop on a couple episodes ago too, and one of the things that we talked about too is like one of our favorite quotes is "This too shall pass." And a lot of people recognize that as like, oh, when bad times are happening, this too shall pass. But I also am like, it's almost like this yin yang approach where it's like even the good things will pass too. It's like the high highs will pass, will fade, and the low lows will fade, and it's just this kind of like this journey through time, and nothing really truly lasts forever. And like you said, when you're feeling low, you go find inspiration, and you pray. But then when you're at your highest, oh, you're present, you're grateful for this time. You express gratitude. It might not last. This might, like you said, this might not be my final time shooting with them, whatever. So it's just like, yeah, gratitude at the top, prayers at the bottom. Like it's so no, that's good. I think it's cool to be able to see how people react to their journey and what tools they have that help them through it. But yeah, I want to get back to some of your projects. Like, is there any most recent project? I know we talked about the Jaden Smith magazine cover, but is there any other recent projects that you're most proud of personally?
Recent. I'm just always proud of any opportunity that I get, because I honestly have been doing this for a long time. I feel like it. I feel like I have, even though I'm still being introduced every day to so many different creators, and I'm sure so many different people are just not finding out who I am or what I do. But I think since I've been doing it for so long, I understand how quick these things come and go. So I'm just grateful for everything that I've been doing lately, because if there's, another photographer that's waiting, there's another hairstyles, another makeup artist, another wardrobe styles. There's always somebody else next that's waiting to get an opportunity. So I'm just grateful and blessed. I used to always only want to focus on what I did not have. So I used to always be like, oh, I want this. I want a Vogue. I want a GQ thing. I want to do this. I want to do that. And so I just kind of stopped focusing on what I didn't have and just be blessed and grateful for what I do have. So anything that's coming from here out, I'm just blessed. I'm just grateful. And and I just do the best that I can. Because of course there's so many other things I want to do, and God, and God knows that. But if not, He's already blessed me with so much. So I'm just coasting and just riding the wave and just like happy for whatever's to come. So
yeah, it's like you're content with everything that you've had so far, and whatever happens, and you're showing up, you're waking up every morning and contributing to your future and your work and everything. And that really brings, even with me, like that makes me happy, whether it's with a huge artist that I grew up listening to, or if I go do like a video for the local deli or something. Like it's all that same, a part of that same feeling of like, wow, I we're blessed to be able to wake up every morning and do what we love for hopefully for as long as we can. And yeah, a couple more questions for you before we wrap up. But one thing too that I try to ask a lot of people too is, if you could go back in time and have a conversation with your younger self, maybe 16, 17, 18-year-old self, with everything in your current form, current Blair now, what would you say, whether it would be advice or, anything to look out for? What would that conversation look like?
To just do it. Like, I think just do it. I think when I look back at a lot of things, I think that if I would have just been fearless and just did it, I feel like as far as I've come with photography, I feel like I could have gone really far in other areas that that I wanted to go far in, like as far as like my other talents. So, and I think I just psyched myself out, and I thought that I needed to just do one thing. So I was like, okay, whether it's singing, acting, photography, directing, whatever takes off first, that's what I'm going to do. And photography took off for me, but that didn't mean I couldn't do all the other things that I wanted to do. So I just feel like my advice would just be, just do it and don't look back. And I'm happy that I did do that, and with something like, with at least photography. And it's still not too late. Like I can still, do all these other things that I want to do. But that's just one thing that I've noticed, that back in the day I was kind of fearless and like just going all the way, and so I would just tell my younger self, just do it and not even care about how you look. If you feel stupid, if you don't think you just as good as somebody else, just do it, because I've learned when you just do it, it can take you a long way. And yeah, and I'm here today just because I just did it. I was just like, I'm gonna just show up. I'm gonna go bring my camera, even though I didn't think I had the best equipment. I didn't always have everything I needed, but I just went and did it. So yeah, and I'm still literally preaching that to myself now, is that you just gotta go do it, Blair. Like there's other things you want to do, other things you want to explore and create and try. So you just gotta do it. And he'll just meet you at the end, so.
I love that. No, I love it. Well, Blair, I appreciate you taking the time. I actually, Sakaya Sandifer, he was on the first episode, and one of the things that he ended our episode on was, he said, he said he'll probably be the happiest when he's like taking his last breath, because he said that like he's learned so much in that time. Like that's when he'll be in his complete form. Like he says that every age that he's at, it's like Sakaya 4.0 if he's 40, or 4.1, whatever. Right. So his idea is like to the minute that, however long he lives, once he takes that last breath, it's like, wow, you've had this entire lifetime of experiences and thoughts and memories. And I guess the analogy that he was trying to represent was, you're always going to be learning and growing and moving through life until the day that you stop existing, I guess. So, I really appreciate you taking the time to hop on today. That was super fun. Definitely going to be still, every time I see a photo of yours pop up on the feed, I'm always like, damn, okay. So I'm stoked to look out for more this year, and Godspeed to you and everything that you're doing. And I'm a big fan of your work, so I appreciate you taking the time to hop on here and chat.
Of course. No, thank you for inviting me. I know you wanted me on here like so long ago, and I was in my head like, oh no, like I don't know if I can do it. But thank you for encouraging me and uplifting me to let me know I could do it, and that I need to like tell my story and just share with other creatives. And you're so bold and like so great at this and what you're doing, and I love the title Rare Humans and everything that you're doing. So I wish you the best of luck, and just keep doing it. And like and I think so many great things are in store, like for you and your podcast and anything that you want to do, because you're such a solid person. And so I appreciate you so much. So thank you.
Well, Blair, that means a lot. Thank you so much, and I'm extremely grateful for you. And I can't thank you enough. So I appreciate you. And like I said, I can't wait to see what that next project is, and keep hitting them with some rare Blair visions.
Nice.
I gotta go pick up the Jaden Smith magazine. I gotta get that on the Calby table.
For sure. No. I got some extras, so I'll hook you up.
Okay, I might take you up on that.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
All right, for sure.